teach him the lyrics of that number. Oh, and send Paul in. All right. Go with Lori and learn the lyric.
Thank you.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, Paul. I really like the way you dance. No, I mean it. So I figured we'd try this again. For one thing, if you're going to change your name, why go from a Puerto Rican name to an Italian one?
Because I don't look it. People always say, you don't look Puerto Rican, you don't look Puerto Rican, but I am.
So you figured you looked Italian?
No, I just wanted to become somebody new. So I became Paul San Marco.
Why did you want to become someone new?
Why? I'm not exactly proud of my past.
Who is? That's what the word means, Paul.
Well, that might
Past.
be easy for... Again, that might be easy for you to say, but...
Look, wait a minute. What made you start dancing? Your parents?
No, what did Puerto Ricans know about theater? Well, I mean, now they have Channel 47, but then they had nothing. But my father loved movies, and he would take us all the time. He worked nights, but he'd come home and he'd take us down to 42nd Street. And we'd come out of one movie and go to another and another movie. I don't know why, but I always loved musicals.
How old were you?
7 or 8.
On 42nd Street.
Yeah. It was a trip.
Go on.
Well, I would have to move down front because I couldn't see. I wear contact lenses now. Anyway, I would move down front, and these strange men would come sit next to me and play with me. And I guess I never really told anyone because I guess it didn't really matter.
Why didn't that matter?
Why? Well,
Look, Paul, if this is too rough for you, I have your picture and resume.
no,
We can just...
Okay. From seeing all those movie musicals, I used to love to dance around in the street, and I would get caught all the time. God, it was embarrassing. I was always being Sid Charisse, always, which I don't really understand because I've always wanted to be an actor. I mean, I really wanted to perform. One day, my cousin said to me, "You'll never be an actor." And I knew she was telling me this because I was such a sissy. I mean, I was terribly effeminate. I always knew I was gay, but that didn't bother me. What bothered me was that I didn't know how to be a boy. One day, I looked at myself in the mirror and said, "You're 14 years old and you're a faggot. What are you going to do with your life?" By that time, I was in Cardinal Hayes High School. There were 3,000 boys. I had no protection anymore. No homeroom where I could be charming and funny with the tough guys so that they'd fight my battles for me like when I was in small schools. I liked school, but my grades got so bad. I mean, even if I knew the answers to questions, I wouldn't raise my hand because I was afraid that they'd laugh at me. They even whistled at me in the halls. It was awful. It was just awful. Finally, I went down to the principal's office and said, "I'm a homosexual." Well, it was a Catholic high school, and at the age of 15, you just didn't say that. He said, "Would you like to see a psychologist?" And I did. And he said, "Well, I think you're very well adjusted for your age, and I think you should quit school." So I did. But I didn't really want to. I couldn't take it anymore. See, when I quit school, what I was doing was trying to find out who I was and how to be a man. You know, there are a lot of people in this world who don't know how to be men. And since then, I learned that I am one. I was looking for the wrong thing. I was trying to learn how to be butch. Anyway, I started hanging around 72nd Street, meeting all these really strange people, just trying to make friends that were like me, so that I'd understand what it was that I was. Someone told me they were looking for male dancers in the Jukebox Review. You know, the drag show. So I go down to audition. Now, from all those years pretending to be Sid Charisse, I had this fabulous extension. I mean, I could turn anything. My first audition. And they said, "You're too short to be a boy. Would you like to be a pony?" And I said, "What's that?" A girl. Well, what do I have to do? Show us your legs. But I have hair on my legs. That's okay, come on upstairs. So I went upstairs and they hiked up my dungarees and put on a pair of nylon stockings and high heels. And it was freaky. It was amazing. And I went back downstairs and they said, "Oh, you have wonderful legs." And I said, "Really? Terrific." It's so strange thinking about all this now. I mean, it was a whole lifetime ago. I was just past 16. Oh, and then there was this thing of me trying to hide it from my parents, and that was something. Because I had to buy all this stuff, like shoes to rehearse it, and earrings, makeup. And I would hide all this stuff, and my mother would find it. I told her there was a girl in the show, and she didn't want her mother to know what she was doing, and that I was holding this stuff for her. And she believed me. Well, I was finally in show business. It was the asshole of show business, but it was a job. I mean, I had nothing to brag about. I had friends, but after a while it got so demeaning. I mean, no one at the Jewel Box had any dignity, and most of them were ashamed of themselves and considered themselves freaks. I guess it was the lack of dignity that got to me, so I left. Oh, I muddled around for a while. I worked as an office boy, a waiter, but without an education, you can't get a good job. So when the Jewel Box called and asked if I could come back, well, I went. We were at the Apollo Theater on 125th Street doing 4 shows a day with a movie. It was really tacky. The show was going to go to Chicago, and my parents wanted to say goodbye, and they were going to drop my luggage off at the theater after the show. Well, we were doing this Oriental number, and I looked like Anime Wong. I mean, I had these great big chrysanthemums on either side of my head, and a huge headdress with gold balls hanging all over it. I was going on stage for the finale. I was walking down the stairs, and who should I see standing by the stage door? My parents. I mean, I freaked. I mean, I didn't know what to do. But I thought to myself, I know. I'll walk quickly past them like everybody else, and they'll never recognize me. So I took a deep breath, and I went down the stairs. And right as I passed my mother, I heard her say, "Oh my God." And well, I died. But what could I do? I mean, I had to go on stage, so I just kept going. After the show was over, I went back to my dressing room, and after I'd finished getting changed and taking my makeup off, I went back downstairs, and there they were, standing in the middle of all of these and all they said to me was, "Please write, make sure you eat, and take care of yourself." And right before my parents left, my father turned to the producer and he said, "You take care of my son."